typewriter, blurry background, neon, texture, glitch, water, fire, 8-bit, and audio, who aren't a text effect, but they did sponsor this video, so more on those later. All of those text effects I've just demoed are super quick, simple, and easy to do directly on the edit page within Davinci Resolve. And yes, that includes the free version, so in this one, I'm going to show you how to make them. Now, all of these effects are done using the Text Plus title. To add the Text Plus, you simply open up the Effects library, top left-hand corner. Make sure you're in the toolbox, go to Titles, grab the Text Plus, it's the one at the bottom here, and then just drop it on your timeline like so. We're going to do that a bunch in this video, so I figured I'd show you that first, and we don't need to cover it every single time. And all of the fonts I'm going to use in this video are free, and I've linked them down below so you can go and download them for yourself. With all that out of the way, let's jump onto the edit page and take a look. And we're going to start things off with this super cool and actually surprisingly easy typewriter effect. So here we are on the edit page. Now I'm using a paper background for this one. This is actually built into Davinci Resolve. This exists within the effects library. Under generators, you've got one simply called paper, and it gives you a nice paper background. Right, back to the typewriter. Let me go to titles. We'll grab a Text Plus, and we're just going to put it on our timeline like so. If we give it a click, open up the inspector, we have all of the Text Plus controls within here. So let's just modify this typewriter, and the font I'm going to use is called 1942 Report. Now let's make this a bit bigger, and we can maybe change the color, make this a little bit darker, click on OK, and here we go. Now to do the typewriter effect, all you need to do, scroll down until you see this Write On modifier here. We're going to right click on the word Write On, go to Modify With, and then select Anim Curves. And that's it. Now if we go to the beginning of the Text Plus and hit play, it's simply going to type in like this. Now if we make this Text Plus shorter on the timeline, it'll type in even quicker. So you can just adjust the length as you need to. So I'm going to go nice and short and hit play, and it's going to type like that. Now when it gets to the end, it's going to disappear. So what we're going to do, give it a click on the timeline so it's highlighted in red. Hold the Alt key or Option if you're on a Mac. Click and drag to make a duplicate and then release. Then I can stretch this out to be as long as I need it. Give this second half a click. In the inspector, go to your Write On once again and just double click to get rid of the animation. So now we have two. This first bit is animated, this next bit isn't. So then if we hit play, it'll just type on and then remain. And then from here, we can edit this edit point by clicking and dragging to just adjust the timing as required to make this typewriter effect really quickly and really easily. Boom, typewriter effect done. Next, sometimes you want to make your text just pop a little bit, but you don't need any real specific effects. Maybe you want to add a drop shadow like this, or you just want to blur the background a little bit. Well, they're both really quick and easy to do, so let's have a look. Now here we already have our typewriter set up, but we want to put a drop shadow on there. Now there are a few different ways to do drop shadows. If you give the Text Plus a click, in the inspector, video, title, Text Plus controls, go to shading, then come to number 3 on the select element and simply click enabled. And that will put a drop shadow on there. You can then scroll down, you can change the color, the softness, the position, and you have all of the controls within here. But I find that personally to be a little bit fiddly. So my preferred method, let me just disable that one. I'm simply going to open up the effects library, go to OpenFX, click on my little magnifying glass at the top to open up the search, and we're going to search for drop shadow, and then we can drop that onto our Text Plus on the timeline. Give it a click. Within the inspector, effects, OpenFX, we've got all of the controls within there, so we can just change it to get it looking exactly as we want it. Now the great thing with OpenFX is you can copy it from one to another. So I'm going to give this first one a click on the timeline and hit Control and C. Then I'm going to my second one, which needs the drop shadow applying. And then we're going to hit Alt or Option and V. And this paste attributes box will appear. Then make sure to tick the plugins, this one down here at the bottom left, and then apply. And that will copy that OpenFX drop shadow from the first one over to the second one, and job done. Now, if we want to do a blurry background, that's really easy as well. First of all, make sure to move your text up a track so you've got a gap between your text and your footage like I have here. Then we're simply going to go back to the effects library. I'm just going to close my search. We're going to go to effects, and then we're going to grab an adjustment clip and put that on the timeline between the text and the footage and lengthen it out as required. Then if we go back to OpenFX, right at the very top, you've got all of these different blur options. I like the Gaussian blur myself, so I'm going to grab that and just drop it onto this adjustment clip, and it will blur the background. Again, if you give the clip a click on the timeline, go to the inspector, you've got the Gaussian blur controls within here, so you can make it as blurry or less blurry as you like. Then to have it fade in, we're simply going to come down to the adjustment clip. There's these little white handles at the start and the end, and if we just bring those in, we get a nice little fade, and if we hit play, it's nice and clear, slowly fades, and then the text starts coming in like that. Easy peasy. See? Told you that one was easy as well. Next up, we have this funky neon effect. Now again, there are a few different ways to do this. You can get slightly better results if you jump into Fusion, but if you want to do this really quickly on the edit page, you can do that too. So here, I've already got my neon text set up. It's a simple text plus once again, and we're using the font Marquee Moon, and I've simply typed in neon. Now we're going to change the color first of all. So we're going to click on the color box, and we're going to pick sort of a slightly washed out sort of pink like so. Then once again, it's really quick and easy. From the OpenFX, you want to grab something called Flicker Edition. So I'm going to type in Flicker in my search. It's right at the top here, Flicker Edition, and we're going to drop this onto our text plus. Now by default, you'll see it doing a little bit, but it might not be that obvious. So give it a click. In the inspector, you have all of the Flicker Edition controls within here. I like to change the flicker type to gain, and then it becomes a fair bit more obvious. There are loads of controls, so you can adjust the range, the speed, the smoothness. Just have a play with all of these options until it looks exactly as you want it. Then go back to the effects library. We're going to go to effects. Again, make sure you've cleared your search. Grab an adjustment clip, put it on top of both and lengthen this out. Then go to OpenFX and search for something called glow, and then drop glow onto your adjustment clip, and it will give it a nice little glow. Now, as the text flickers, it gives it a nice glow effect. And again, if we give the adjustment clip a click in the inspector, we can change all of these controls to make it as glowy or as not quite as glowy as we like, mess with everything within there. If you want to make it pop off the wall just a little bit more, grab a drop shadow, put that on your text. Once again, let's go into the effects area. We'll open up the drop shadow, increase this strength, maybe get rid of the blur a little bit, reduce the distance, and we've got this really simple, but actually quite nice looking neon effect. Now it's time for a glitch. Everyone loves a glitch. This one, once again, is really easy. There's two different ways to do it, which you can pick and choose whichever works for you. So I've got my text set up. This is a really cool font called Hacked. I've linked it down below. It is free once again, but you do need to credit the person that created it, which is totally fair if you ask me. So I've also dropped a drop shadow on this one just to make it pop off the background. So how do you make it glitch? Simple. Go to the effects folder within the effects library and search for glitch. There's one in there called digital glitch. We can then simply drag this effect directly onto our text plus, and then if we hit play, we have a glitchy style effect. If we give the text a click on the timeline within the inspector, effects, make sure you go to the new Fusion tab, which has appeared once you've added the digital glitch, and you have all of the glitch controls within here. So you can change the position, the width, the height, the chroma scale. You can have loads of fun with this, getting it to look exactly as you want it. If that's a bit too glitchy and you don't want to do all of that, there's actually a built-in glitch effect which you can use instead. So let me just delete this one from my timeline. If we go to titles within the effects library, we'll scroll down just a little bit. There's 3 here, digital glitch, a lower third and a right side. We can just drop that on the timeline, hit play, and we have this glitch effect instead. I personally prefer the digital glitch effect, but there you go. You've got options. Who doesn't love a cool glitch effect? Now, here's a real quick tip. All of these text effects work best with relevant music and cool sound effects. It just really makes them pop, and without them, they can fall a little bit flat. Fortunately, I know a great website where you can get both, and that's Audio. Audio is a music subscription service which has a highly curated range of music and a whole bunch of awesome sound effects too. And you can get your first year of all of their music and sound effects for just $59 using the code ALEX70. Plus, that license covers you for basically anything: YouTube, commercial video projects, podcasts, TV, movies, and even video games. So you know you're always covered. Plus, the music's really good and the sound effects are great too, which is obviously pretty important. So if you do fancy checking out Audio for yourself and getting that first year for just $59 using the code ALEX70, check out the link down in the description below. Sweet. Right, next up we have video within text. This, once again, is surprisingly easy. So once again, I've got my Text Plus set up, but this time it's over a video clip on my timeline like so, the same way you probably usually would. But for this one, you actually have to swap things up a little bit. So I'm going to grab this video on the timeline and put it above the text like so. Then give the video a click on the timeline in the inspector, come down to this composite area. If you don't see the options, just click on the word composite so you can see this, and then change the composite mode from normal, scroll right the way down, and change this to be the foreground. Nothing will happen initially, but that's okay. Then click on the Text Plus on the timeline. In the inspector once again, video, go to the Settings tab at the top and do the same thing, composite mode, but this time change this one to be the alpha. Now you'll see the video where the text is, and if we hit play, you can see it's simply going to play through. Simple. Now you can come and change all the attributes of that text and the video if you need to. If you want to change the color of the background, go to the generators area within the effects library, grab a solid color and put that underneath. We'll lengthen this out. Then give it a click in the inspector, go to the generator tab, and we can simply change this color to be whatever we want it to be. If we just delete that solid color, you can even put video underneath as well. And now you've got video within a text on top of video. Cool. Now, of course, you can also put an image under there as well. So then you get an image within the text, something like this. But there's actually a better way. There's a way that gives you a little bit more control to add different textures and different images to create different looks. So here we have picture within text set up in the same way as before. But as mentioned, there's a better way, so let me show you how. This Text Plus on the timeline here is a real simple Text Plus. There's nothing fancy going on here. All I've done is change the font, which is called Ape Mount, by the way, and I've changed the color to white. So how do we put the image within the text? Well, all you need to do, make sure the Text Plus is selected on the timeline, inspector, video, Text Plus, same as before. Then go to the shading tab at the top, and then from within here, just scroll down to this properties area, and then you've got type. It will be solid by default. Change that to image, and then change the image source to clip. That will give you this color area, and there's a browse button. If you hit browse, you can then search your own PC to find the image you want to use. So I'm going to use this nice little colored texture thing here. And there we go. Now, if we scroll down a little bit more, there's all of these controls which you can use to actually adjust the image within the text. So we can change the mapping angle, the mapping size, and the mapping aspect. But it gets really cool because you've got this mapping level. So by default, as you can see, the image is replicated within every single individual character. But if we change the mapping level to full image, the image will cover all of the text. Or we can change it to text, which is basically the same one. We can change it to line, and then the image is replicated per line. We can change it to word, and then we can also change it to character. So you just have more control. And then you can go and animate this and do whatever you want. We could even start to combine different effects. So if we go to our right on, modify with anim curves, we now have a funky texture in the text, and we can use it to do a typewriter effect. Pretty cool, right? Text effect inception. Next up, we have a watery effect. And again, there's kind of two different ways that you can apply this, either to the text itself, which just makes the text kind of watery, or to everything, which makes things look like they're underwater. Let me show you both. So this one's really simple. We have a text plus. I've only changed the font, which is called Impact, by the way, and that's it. And we've simply put it above this image of some water. So how do we make it watery? Simply go to the OpenFX area within the effects library and search for something called fast noise. We're going to grab the fast noise and we can either apply it to the text plus the image underneath, or we can actually do both, which I'll show you in a second. So if I was to apply it to the image underneath, it would go all grey and weird. If we give it a click on the timeline, go to the inspector, the effects area, OpenFX, and we've got the fast noise controls within here. Change this preset to water surface, and then if we hit play, we have this nice watery sort of effect. We have all of the controls within here, so we can change the scale, the horizontal, vertical ratio, the detail level, all that sort of stuff. Just have a play with these, honestly, until you get the look you want. A really key one to work with is this contrast, because this basically changes the overall strength of the effect. So if we increase it, it's really wobbly, and if we turn it down, it's less so. So there we go. Pretty cool effect. I'm going to delete the fast noise from the water, and we're going to apply it instead to the text plus. And then we'll do the same thing, text plus, effects, we'll change this to water surface. And now the text is all watery instead. Now the last example, we'll delete that one. We're gonna go to the effects area. We'll grab an adjustment clip, put it on top of both like so. Then go to the OpenFX, find our fast noise, drop it on there, change it to water surface. And now both things are affected, giving us a really cool underwater style effect. Add some nice sound effects to that, and it's an absolute winner. Now, fast noise can actually do a little bit more, because you can use it to create a really nice heat haze kind of fire effect, which I really like for fire style titles. So exactly the same setup once again, but this time we've just got a video of a little campfire underneath. So we're going to go to effects, grab an adjustment clip, we'll put this on top, open effects, fast noise, drop it on there. In the inspector, we'll change the preset to be heat haze, which is the bottom one. Now by default, I find this to be a bit kind of small. So what I like to do is just bring the HV ratio down and then maybe increase the scale. And then if we hit play, we've got this really cool heat haze style effect. Now, once again, you can start to do some really cool stuff with this and combine some of the effects we've already covered. So I've got another example here, which is basically exactly the same thing. But what we're going to do is just drag up the adjustment clip to make some room here. And then I've got another video of some fire. So this is a different clip of this bonfire. Then we're going to do that video in text effect we covered earlier. So I'm going to give the video a click, go to the inspector, video, and come down to composite and change that composite mode to be the foreground. Then click on the text underneath, same thing, come down to the composite mode, and we change this, if you remember, to alpha. And now we've got a bonfire with the word fire with a fire underneath it, and it's all got a cool heat haze effect applied. We can drop a dynamic zoom on there just to make it sort of slowly zoom in. And it's a real quick, easy way to make a pretty dramatic looking title. Hot stuff indeed. Made my desk wobble. Anyway, next up we have one last one, which again, I really like, super quick and simple, and it's to create this 8-bit style pixelated sort of effect. Now, technically you can just get a font which looks 8-bit, looks jagged, but this allows you to apply that effect to basically any font you like. So once again, we have a standard text plus. This font is called Nice Sega Sonic. It looks cool, it looks retro, but it looks a little bit too clean. We want to make it look a little bit more pixelated. So what we're going to do, from the OpenFX, right at the very top, we've got this one here called Mosaic Blur. Just drop that Mosaic Blur onto your text plus, like so. By default, honestly, it looks pretty good anyway. But if you go to the inspector, effects, you've got the controls within here. You can change the pixel frequency to make it either more or less pixely. You can change the shape if you want to, although I recommend leaving it as square. Now, to make this look a little bit less blurry, but still keep that jaggedness, go to the advanced controls and then simply tick whole cells only, and then it looks really, really cool. Again, you can come and mess with all of these settings to get it looking exactly as you want it, but I think it's a really cool way of making pretty much any text look nice and retro. Once you've applied this effect, you can still go back to the video tab, come to the font, scroll through all of your different fonts and see how it's going to look. Thinner fonts will need a little bit of tweaking to make sure they don't all disappear, but nice thick fonts like that one work really well. The end. Maybe watch one of these other videos next. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to, if you like the video. If not, bye.